Hey, Laurengrace here, and welcome to the Australian Festival of Sound Melbourne Frequencies Getting to Know You web series. I'm joined today by Byrne and Daniel Radakay, our Mornington Peninsula locals that both discovered the incredibly healing power of sound and vibrations while working through trauma. D2 Soul led to an intuitive sound journey to bring people into the now, to ground, relax, and rejuvenate. The array of celestial instruments they use that makes this possible are handpans, crystal harp and singing bowls, Tibetan singing bowls, rain stick and thunder drums, chimes, symphonic gong, and gong harp infused with harmonious backing tracks. They're joining me today to talk about their journey from trauma through to healing and what it's like to work as a team. Hey guys, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Howdy.
Thanks for having us, Lauren.
So I think that before we talk about why music, because, you know, why music, everybody has a different answer to that. I really would love to know how the two of you sort of started working together and how did you meet? Did you have some kind of, you know, connection from way back when, or are you just getting to know each other now?
Dan?
Well, I actually found Dan online, or we kind of just found each other. I was not looking for a handpan, which is where we both kind of started with these instruments. And he ended up liking one of my photos. Must have been a tag from hashtagging Mornington Peninsula. That's where I've kind of gone to. And I've checked out his profile, and he was outside playing the handpan in the beautiful beach area. And it's like, wow, that looks great. And then it wasn't too long after that where he ended up liking another one of my photos. And I went onto his profile and I reached out to him and I said, that instrument's amazing. I've seen it before on YouTube, and it would have been at least 5 years back. And he reached out saying, yeah, come past anytime, Mornington Peninsula, and you can play one. I have a bunch, and I sell them, and yeah, that was our initial conversation at first.
I love that a lot. So when you're talking about a handpan, so I'm from Northern Canada, I automatically had a visual in my head of like a gold pan. Is it sort of a similar type shape, the handpan, or can you guys describe this a little bit for me? Because it's no surprise to me that, you know, it was sort of unique to find somebody playing one with maybe, oh, there we go. It's beautiful. Okay. Tell me a little bit about that, Dan.
Yeah, sure. So a handpan's basically it's a steel drum. It looks like a UFO, and it's a harmonic type of instrument that has heaps of different notes.
Wow.
So yeah, it's derived from the steel drums, but it's more harmonic and it's more of a full sound. It's very, very relaxing and very, very meditative, which is I think basically where Dan and I both fell in love with it because of its, you know, sort of meditative sounds and takes you away. Yeah.
Can you give a couple of plays on it, if you don't mind, just for the viewer who's like me going, yeah, but I want to hear more.
I'm trying to get it in the right position, but yeah, sure.
It's always good to put people on the spot when you're doing little video interviews, because that's what people hang out for. They're hanging out for those candid moments, the unprepared moments. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
so it's
beautiful.
Yeah, they're made out of different types of materials. That one there's stainless steel. There's nitrided steel in there. A few other types that they're bringing in now. Yeah, so that's how, if you know, technically we first met through handpan.
So Daniel, it's not hard to see why you were interested in that. It's got an absolutely beautiful quality. So take me back. So you went and you met up, and did you guys just have a jam session and realize, wait a minute, we have musical synergy here? Or did it take a little bit more time to kind of find your groove and become D2 Soul?
We talked for a couple of months, and I eventually just said, you know what, I'm going to come and buy one. So Dan invited me over to his house, and he placed the handpan in my lap, and I actually got terrified. I said, "Can you take it off? Can you show me?" And then he ended up showing me, and it was absolutely beautiful. I took it home. That day, and on I went on my journey, and we just it was I told him after I left, before I left, that I'm going to send you a lot of messages and I might get really annoying.
And let's not forget, there was a bit of bartering that went on that day. we did a trade for I ended up getting one of your boss, your RC5 loop station. And,
yes.
Yeah. But no, as soon as I met Dan, it's like an instant connection. His beautiful partner, and they had a newborn as well. And just the amazing thing about not just this instrument, but all the other instruments that we play, and the sort of life that we're living now, is that we just meet amazing people. The connection that you have, like it's an amazing community. And yeah, as soon as I met Dan, it was like I knew he was going to be a bestie for life.
So cool. I love that. A little bro romance. I love it so much. It's so good. It's so funny how,
absolutely.
When you're somebody who connects to music, connects to sound, recognizes the sort of almost the hidden meaning or the hidden sort of results that you can get from listening to music. When you find somebody else who is a kindred spirit, I would imagine that that's a really reassuring thing. And then being able to create music as well with them, because that's not always the case. You can have music lovers who don't necessarily have the ability to be able to create together. So can you tell me a bit about your collaboration? Does somebody bring a beat to the table and then the other person's bringing a crystal harp all of a sudden? Or is there a rain stick that starts it all off? How does it happen?
Dan, I can let you hit that off.
Yeah, sure. So we've got a really good, like I said, I think Dan and I are really connected, and we both bring a lot to the table in terms of our creativeness. Generally, in terms of an opening for some of our previous sound healings that we've done, obviously we like to bring people into grounding them. Obviously they've been outside, they've been running around, their mind's a little bit wandered. We generally like to start off with just going around the top of people with singing bowls, and a lot of people would sort of maybe expect us, because we're predominant handpan players, we'd start with a handpan. But we found that we like to bring that in throughout the journey a little bit further. So we start with the Koshi Chime. We like to really infuse people with the sound. So, and with two of us, it's a great dynamic, because there's so many instruments that we have that match with each other. So I'll go over the top of people with singing bowls to start. I generally like to put a nice track behind it, whether it be just some om chanting or something that matches well with the instruments. And Dan will go over the top of people with two Koshi chimes. I'll go over the top of people with singing bowls, and sort of like to, ground people and just bring them in at the start. And then from there we flow through to handpans, and then we sort of bring it back to the handpan. So yeah, we go instrument, handpan, another instrument, handpan, another instrument, handpan, because we've got a variety of different scales of handpans. So yeah, they come in different keys and scales. So bring up different emotions and different feelings. So yeah.
It's funny. I think that one of the things that I'm realizing when I'm speaking with people in this series is that everyone you know, has their own style and they bring their own voice, I guess you could say, to the art. It's kind of interesting when you're still getting to know about sound healing and you realize, oh, wait a minute, sound healing isn't just one thing. There's all these different modalities. There's all of these different directions you can go in depending on maybe the feel of the environment that you're in, the people that you're working with in the retreats, for example. So do you find that no session is exactly the same, that you're really kind of playing on the vibration of what's happening around you?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
We generally go with the mood, how we started off, in the mood that, or the energy and the frequency we feel in the room and from everybody else will kind of, Dan and I will look at each other and we'll just know what to do next.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the good thing about, I mean, because we've been doing sound journeys together, you know, for probably the last maybe 6 months. And obviously with anything, as time goes on, you go, oh, that really worked well. That was, you know, that really as well. And, you know, we'll get feedback from people as well. So as well as intuitively, you know, looking at each other and going, okay, this is what will be next, or we're feeling this. We also know that, okay, you know, it is structured in a way that, okay, we know what, you know, the birds backing track really worked well with, you know, this major scale of handpan, you know, this pretty rainforest sound, and then go to a thunder drums and rain stick, you know. So we get feedback from people and also, you know, work off that as well.
So I know that when I read your bios that you kind of talked a little bit, or I talked about the fact that you went from trauma to healing using sound. So how have you seen that, you know, shape and shift your own life? And then how have you seen it work with the people that you guys work with? I would imagine it's pretty powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. Dan, do you want me to kick that one off, or Dan?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so the way I got into, and this is like, it's a very sort of an emotional subject, because my journey of healing started about coming out, approaching 3 years ago, when I first heard Handpans. I was actually in a residential rehab for 2 months. So I was in active addiction for over 10 years, which was caused from, you know, my addiction came from trauma that I knew nothing about until reaching out for help and checking myself into a rehab. And I discovered YouTube, and we were taught to be able to meditate, to try and meditate, and I couldn't sit there and do the guided meditations. And then as soon as I heard this sound on YouTube, I was like blown away. And I used to sit there every day. We were allowed like an hour of TV a day in this live-in rehab. And I was like, no, we're not doing anything but listening to the selfish side of me was there. And I was like, no, we're only listening to handpan music, and that was it. And as soon as I checked myself out, I bought two drums, and yeah, it was my meditate. It just took me away to another place that I could and just get outside of my thoughts. And what was amazing was the fact that I'd be playing on the beach and other people would just come up to me and sit next to me and tell me about their life story, and how they were going through so much. It was so powerful. And was probably a big turning point for me, because not only was that helping me talk about my things and connecting with other people, they were, you know, healing from that as well. And that's where it was a turning point in deciding, okay, there's something in this, and, you know, I want to make more of it. Yeah, so that's
Beautiful.
Absolutely. That's it's very, very, very similar when I first got the handpan from Dan too. I'd go out and I'd really enjoy playing out in nature, although I was very, very shy too, because I wasn't experienced in it at all. But when I'd be playing outside, you know, a few people would come past and just stop or sit down, and they'd be listening. And when they've had their time, they'd get up and they'd acknowledge and say, you know, thank you, that was really nice, and they'd walk off. And it's just that you can, that healing that it provides, it's astonishing. It's beautiful to see that the emotion that you can put in it projects straight out, and people can connect through that. Yeah, it's beautiful to see.
Kind of seems to me
Yeah.
like in today's society, we're kind of encouraged in a way to like talk about our problems, but that's not something that everyone can do. They can't always articulate or even want to articulate and go there. And when I'm listening to the two of you talk, it sounds to me like you've been able to channel out your pain through music, and in a way that's maybe accessible, and maybe in a way that you can be vulnerable without being uncomfortable at the same time. Do you find that that is a fair thing to say?
Absolutely.
That's a great point you've made, actually, Lauren. I'd never really thought of that in that regard, but yeah, definitely, it's a way of expressing without expressing, in a way.
Yeah, because it's like, maybe you don't want to go into all the intricacies. You just want to play it out and let it out. So I'd love to know a little bit about what the viewer at home who's listening and getting ready to head to the festival can expect from your guys' set. If it's anything that I've heard in this conversation today, it sounds to me like it's going to be something that really does pull at your heartstrings and really gets to the core of the soul, which is maybe the whole point for D2 Soul.
Absolutely. Yeah, so, well, we've got a lot of sound. Well, obviously we're in lockdown at the moment here in Melbourne still, but we have a lot of sound journeys planned prior to the festival. So we're really going to be working on like just a really fine set. And we've got some really amazing new instruments on the way as well. There's one that I mentioned in the bio that we will have. It's called a Gong Harp, and it is the most incredible instrument. So, yeah, look, it's going to be a handpan based journey with infused with like celestial sounding instruments that a lot of people haven't experienced before. They are quite unique. So yeah, and like you said, there are a lot of other, everyone's got their own little styles, and yeah, ours will be very unique.
Cool. Sounds good. Daniel, why do you think it's important to have festivals like this and to get out there and support them?
The connections mostly. To that the connection, that community that comes together to listen and wanting to, a word that I'm looking for is reach a higher state of consciousness, I could basically say. It's absolutely amazing, the frequencies that can shift in your body listening to these types of healing instruments is absolutely amazing. And when you have a room full of people that are experiencing the same thing, it raises the vibration of the roof. And just even being the one to provide the sounds for the people, it's absolutely amazing. Getting that feeling back from everybody, and it's just vibrations and frequencies bouncing all over the room, and it's absolutely amazing. And when it's calm, it's super calm. When it's when you're playing something really happy and you're projecting it very happily, you can feel that happiness and you can feel the love coming out from the room. And just that alone, the vibrations and the energy and frequencies in the room it's amazing.
It's so cool. I love it. Well, I know it's going to be absolutely amazing. And I know that our viewer at home is like, how can I know more about these guys? So where can they find you? I know that you guys are still building up your D2 Soul profiles. Can they contact you individually? what's the best way to get in touch and maybe to hear a little bit more about what you guys are doing?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're very active on, well, I am personally, but we're very active on social media, mostly under Instagram. Under our joint one is D2 Soul, and also our personal ones. Mine is Cymatic Harmony, Cymatic Harmony, and Daniel's is
Mine would be D dot Radocaj, which is my last name, which is Radakay. But to make it easier to find any of us would probably be to go to the D2 Soul page on Instagram, and both of our link names are in there. So if it's easier to search up D2 Soul, then that would probably be your best option to find both of us.
Yeah, you guys definitely did not make it that easy. D2 Soul is easy. Thank you. All right. Well, thank you so much. I really look forward to hearing more from you guys, no pun intended. And I know you're going to have a great set at the festival. So for our viewer at home, the Australian Festival of Sound, the Melbourne Frequencies, happens on November 6th and 7th this year, 2021. And we look forward to seeing you there.